I think Richard will be coming back on here in a little bit.
Okay.
Don't know what happened. We got called in. So just be us. Me too, Kevin. Me too. Private chat. Oops. Get my videos ready to go. It's going to be a good show. I'm excited about this.
I'm looking forward to it.
Get my pre-show video up here. We may not be doing Belt of the Week video this week, depending on how this interview goes. And that's fine. I'll save it for next week. No big deal. I'd rather have the interview.
All righty.
It's going to be a good interview. Should get some good views tonight.
I think so.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Oh, Nora's already here.
Is he? Okay.
We're official. Yep. We're official already.
We are. We are. He's wishing you happy birthday.
Yeah, I just seen that.
Yeah. I'll have to do a programming note. We talked about this where you came in, Ben. We're going to take the week off September 4th because someone else is celebrating a birthday. This guy.
Okay.
I was told to take the week off.
And I probably remember I won't probably be on the 28th. So
okay.
that's 2 episodes. We'll won't have it that next week.
Okay.
But I may not remember. I have to go get that evaluation done.
Oh, that's right.
So for the transplant. So
okay.
There's a
we got it covered. We'll cover it.
Ben, how does it feel? Ben, how does it feel to be nifty and 50?
Oh man. Day one was rough. I didn't go to bed till 2:00 this morning.
Welcome to the club.
Wow.
The 50 club. The 50 club.
And then so I didn't start my dialysis. So when I woke up, when I finally did get I woke up at 6 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Watched a little bit of TV, fell back to sleep. I woke back up and it was 10:30.
Oh, okay.
And my dialysis still hadn't ended. I've never gone that late in the morning. Usually I start my treatment at 9:00, 9:30, and I'm done by 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So kind of threw me off today, but
yeah.
Well,
hopefully your birthday went well.
Yeah, I ate. I ordered steak and potatoes and loaded mac and cheese, and I was
Sounds
good.
Great to me.
Kids bought me a carrot cake for my birthday.
Can't
so
beat that.
I kind of got the splurge last night.
Nothing wrong with that.
Woke up this morning, my sugar levels was 150, so it was good.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah, it was good.
You're counting down to the showtime.
Mm-hmm.
Your count's going up. All systems are go. We are auto sequence start. That sounds like NASA.
I was just going to say, it sounds like NASA.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's launching.
That's where I got that.
As long as you don't say Houston, we have a problem, we're good.
Yeah, don't want to say that. And we don't want to clear the tower.
Is this SpaceX or what are we doing here?
Well, we are spanning the globe, so.
We're spanning with the best of them. No.
Yeah, we haven't had one of those in, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's coming due. 33 seconds. I'm excited. Got a special intro tonight.
I am too.
Got a special intro tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny. I coordinate removing this countdown timer and then going to the intros. So, but I got it. Here we go. Let's get started.
Hello, wrestling fans. Mark especially. Action Mike Jackson right here. 10 times U.S. Junior champion. Watching Spanning the Globe right here in action.
Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday night. It is time to go spanning the globe. My name is Mark Mackert. I'm your host for the evening. I want to thank you so much for taking 2 hours out of your Thursday night to join us for some belt talk. Tonight, we're going to have some professional wrestling talk. We have a very special guest tonight. But before we get to that, I want to remind everyone that our sponsors are Marked Leather Championship Belt Leathering and Ashley's Southern Designs. I want to give a special shout out to Double Dropkick Podcast coming up Saturday night on the DAB Network. Kevin's got another exciting show coming up on Saturday night. He's going to be interviewing Tony Thorpe with Kaizen Pro Wrestling. He's also a fellow collector in our belt group, so that should be a good interview. Be sure you check that out Saturday night on the Double Dropkick channel and on Instagram, X, and I think there's a couple other social media. You're going to find it. Trust me, it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. Also, we want to get to 500 subscribers on our YouTube channel, the Wide World of Belts YouTube channel. And once we get there, we are going to give away this beautiful Winged Eagle CNC 4mm dual plated by Unique Championship Belts. It will be on American leather done by me. But we have to get to 500 subscribers before we can give this belt away. It'll also have a filled belt tip. So be sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you have some friends or relatives that also enjoy wrestling and are fascinated by the wrestling belts, have them subscribe as well. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on our special guest. He is from the 80s Territory days, a great professional wrestler. His name is Mr. Action Mike Jackson. Good evening, sir. Are you there?
Hello. How you guys doing?
Good.
I am here.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Good. Hey, Mike.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
I'm having trouble hearing y'all now.
Oh, okay. Maybe our engineer's in the back. Maybe we get him working again. So, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us tonight. You and I talked on the phone the other day, and you were more prominent in the Georgia Championship Wrestling Territory days in the early to mid '80s, and also did some wrestling in the Mid Atlantic Territory. But I want to get started on how you got into wrestling. Tell us a little bit about your wrestling background. Were you an amateur wrestler? Did you wrestle in high school? Where did you first become involved in wrestling?
Well, I did not wrestle in high school because they didn't have it back in there. Now, I'm 75 years old. Back when I graduated from high school in 67, wrestling was not a big thing. Football, baseball, basketball, yes, but girls didn't play sports and there was no wrestling. So I basically saw this when I was 8 years old. My dad was a pastor at a church, and it came on TV one day, and I saw it, and I watched it. Man, it was the most exciting thing I think I ever saw, and I decided from that very day on that's what I wanted to be. And when I moved around a little bit, then my dad would go to different churches and got away from wrestling for a long time, but moved back to Birmingham in 1964 And you were talking about the territories. Do you remember a man named Nick Goulas?
I remember the name.
Y'all remember
yes.
those names?
Yes.
Okay, he was the promoter in Birmingham. He ran the wrestling, the NWA wrestling, every Monday night at Boutwell, and I would go down every Monday night at Boutwell and watch the matches, and just I watched front row for about 52 weeks. I started talking to some of the guys, following them around a little bit, and little bit by little bit, I kind of got into the business.
Okay, I'm gonna put some pictures up while you're talking. Please continue. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, that's an old Georgia Championship picture, right outside of Channel TBS Studios, right there. Took that out there.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Put one on Jake.
So I
Jake
wrestled
Roberts.
that was territory. Y'all were talking about the territory. It's me and Jake the Snake Roberts. That was in one of the magazines.
That's in the. I think that was a studio match in the TBS studios, if I remember correctly.
That's definitely a TB. Yes, the studio match right there. Yeah.
Okay.
If I was younger, I could jump a little higher, kick a little higher. Yeah.
Well, from some pictures I've seen here lately and some videos, you're still doing it. You're still doing it.
I can still do a few things. I've come off of a few things, but I'm still active on a few other things.
That was a little bit more recent. That's TNA Impact, isn't it?
That's an Impact. Yeah, Impact called me to TV when I was about, I think that was about 70 or 71 years old. I'm working with Johnny Swinger there, and that's kind of my patent move. I walk in the top rope. Undertaker does it one step. I do it all the way around. But
wow,
he's my influence. He's the one I saw doing. I thought I got to try that.
That's some good stuff.
It's a great move if you don't fall off.
Yeah, this was more recent. This a couple weeks ago in Charlotte at the gathering. You and George South.
George South. We were in a tournament, and I had to wrestle George South in the first round.
And you won, right?
I beat him, and then I went in the second round with Caleb. I think Caleb Connolly was his name. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's Charlotte. I believe that was Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah. A friend of ours was at that match and took that picture. So,
yeah,
that's awesome. You're still doing that at 75 years old. Okay, so
yeah,
Nick Goulas got you into professional wrestling.
Well, before that, I couldn't get in. In the old days, it was hard to get in wrestling. You guys I don't know how far back you go, but I remember going many times to Nick Goulas and asking him to, give me a chance, give me a start, and he wouldn't do it. And I'd go out that back door about to cry because I couldn't get in it. But there was a guy at my high school that wrestled in what we call in Alabama outlaw shows. Now, most people call them independent shows, but we call them outlaw shows. And this is just show you how the good Lord works. He had a plan for me, and I couldn't get with Nick Goulas, so I decided to heck with it, and I went with these guys and wrestled for about 13 months, little outlaw shows. Sometimes you got paid, sometimes you didn't get paid. I didn't care at that point. I did that for about 13 months, and then I got with the referee son of Boutwell Auditorium, Nick Goulas guy, the man worked for Nick Goulas, and I started working with him. And when he went to school, I took over his job. I rang the bell at Old Channel 42, and I parked cars in the parking lot. I did all kind of things there, but I still wanted to wrestle. And so when Bob would go out, Bob Holland was the referee. When he'd go out on spot shows, I would go with him, and he'd be tired. I might referee a match or whatever, help with the ring, whatever. I got into this business putting up rings. And then finally, one thing led to another. And to show you how things are strange and how the good Lord works, there's a commission in Alabama called the Alabama Boxing and Wrestling Commission. You have to have license, promoters, wrestlers, referee, whatever the case might be. We didn't have them because we couldn't afford them. So we would just do those outlaw shows. And he sent two of his guys one night to watch the show in Carbon Hill, Alabama, and just to find out what we were doing. They weren't troublemakers or nothing. They came in, just watch the matches, go back and report to Nick. Hey, they had so many people. They didn't pay taxes, whatever the case might be. But they told these guys, there's two guys that were so good. Well, I don't know about so good, but they were good enough that you need to hire them full time. Unbelievable. Who was it? Me and my tag team partner. So we moved to Nashville, Tennessee. My first big time match was 1973, Christmas night. Boutwell Auditorium. Now, some of you might remember Ken Ramey and the Interns. My first match was with Ken Ramey. And Nick Goulas hired us full time. We moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and we worked every night of the week and sometimes 3 and 4 times on Saturday. It lasted for about a good year and a half, maybe. But in this business, one day you're on the top, one day you're in the middle, and then you fall to the bottom. So we weren't making very much money. So my partner got married. He left. We wasn't really making enough to make ends meet. So then we were kind of out of work. But that, that's part of it. Nick Goulas wanted to send me out to Oklahoma, but I was young and I didn't want to go, so I didn't go. But bottom line
great,
was,
by the way.
it was a good start. Like what?
I can vouch for Oklahoma. It's really, really good here.
Well, you know what? I ended up going there and working for Bill Watts, and I loved it. But
I think I saw you on the Mid-South show.
They what?
I think I saw you on some of the Mid-South shows.
Oh, I worked for Mid-South for several years. I loved it. But that was way after because when I decided I was going to quit, it just wasn't doing anything. I didn't want to outlaw anymore because there was no money involved in that whatsoever. Jerry Jarrett called me. I don't know if you know Jerry Jarrett. That's Jeff Jarrett's son, Double J's dad, I mean. He called me. He was booking over in Atlanta. He knew me from the territory days. He asked me if I wanted to come to Atlanta. And I went to Atlanta, and first match was a guy with a guy named Ray Stevens. Y'all may have heard of him.
Absolutely.
He was the AWA World Heavyweight Champion at the time. Had a Cripper Ray, had a great match with him on TV. And as soon as I walked back, he didn't know me from anybody, but he put me over like $1 million. I don't know why. Gordon Soley probably put a bug in his ear. Gordon and I were pretty good friends. Gordon may have talked to him. I don't know that, but he probably did. But as soon as I walked back in the dressing room, Ole Anderson was there. He said, "Man, can you come back next week?" And then I told him I had a couple of guys that would come with me, and he said, "Yeah." And I ended up bringing for when it was over. I had 37 guys working for me, and I was booking the TV. I wasn't booking the TV, but I was filling in the spots for the TV. So that's kind of how it got going.
Okay. And now most of us know you because of watching television as what they now refer to as enhancement talent. But the more common term that used to be used is called jobbers. And a lot of the enhancement talent hates that term, but you embrace it.
That doesn't bother me at all. And, when I was the first time I heard enhancement talent, Tommy Dreamer, I did a podcast out of New York for some guys, and Tommy Dreamer was there as the guest commentator to me. And he was telling me that. He said, "No, we want to call you enhancement talent." That's fine. You call me whatever you want to call me. But I was there to do a job, and I was there to do the best job I possibly could. My job was to put a guy over if I needed to put a guy over, whatever the case might be. But I had no trouble with that. I accepted it because I was working every time, and I was working spot shows, house shows, all the TVs. I had it going. So if I would have walked in the office and said, "Look, I don't want to do these jobs anymore. I want you to give me a good position," I wouldn't have had one. I wouldn't have been working at all. So I've been back out. So the bottom line was I did it. I'm not saying I loved every match I had because there was guys that were horrible that I had to try to make look good. One time, Ole Anderson, I don't know if you remember when the Road Warriors came to Atlanta TV. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yep.
Okay. They had no clue about wrestling. They were brawlers. They were killers. Ole Anderson put me with them every week. Even when I went to Oklahoma for Bill Watts, they put me with them. They said, Ole Anderson said his exact word. He said, "I want to put you with those guys, and if you don't teach them how to work, they're going to kill somebody." Well, that was good for them, but it wasn't good for me. I was the one getting killed every week.
Yeah.
But after this was over, and they did learn to do a little stuff, and they ended up a lot better. They came to me and thanked me for it, put me on their videos. One night, Paul Ellering was supposed to be Animal's partner. He didn't show up, and Animal went back to the promoter and said, "I want Mike Jackson to be my partner." So he respected all of these things. A lot of guys didn't respect it, but we were jobbers. We were there to get guys over. We were there to do what needed to be done. Some guys wouldn't do it. Some guys left. When I was booking that TV, I had guys tell me, "I can't do that. I got a job. I got a family. They make fun of me. They laugh at me. You got beat up on TV, blah, blah, blah." And they walked out. most guys like myself, George South, we knew what we were there for. We were getting paid very well to do it, and we did it with the right attitude, and we made a good match out of it. If you saw that match with Ric Flair, the second match with Ric Flair that you wasn't able to find, I thought I was going to win it. There were some times that I thought, I don't know what's going on, but I'm fixing to be the world champion, But
I'm gonna go play the video. I'm gonna go play the
guys,
video while you talk. This is the
okay,
the first one I
and
found.
this first one was a good match, but it wasn't the best one, but it was still a good one. But he respected guys that could work and talent wise, and he wanted to have a good match. And I did a job, but it was a good job. There's a difference between doing a good job and just doing a job. There's no squash job here.
Right? No, there isn't. You gave him all he could handle in this match.
Well, he's the world champion. He didn't have to give me anything.
Right, and this was shortly after he won the NWA Championship the first time. This is 1981.
Probably so. I think it was. And he's in his prime life, and he's picked to be the real world heavyweight champion, not 55 world champion. He is the world champion. He didn't have to give me anything. He could have squashed me like a bug, and there was nothing I could say or do about it. I was getting paid to do it. But he calls it. I don't say nothing. That's the world champion right there. So
he called that
if
match.
he wants me to get a headlock, I'm getting a headlock.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he wants me to drop kick him, I'm going to drop kick him. But he tells me, I don't tell him.
Right.
But he respected me, and we had a good match.
This is what I miss about the territory days. Especially the jobbers, because if you had a favorite wrestler or even your favorite heel, you want them to look good in the ring. And so this was kind of a build up to the big event match at the actual arena, where the top guys will look good. Nowadays they're all main events. They're all main event matches in the arena. You don't have the enhanced talent like you used to. It's just the main guy gets the main guy. I love this because it always made my favorite wrestler look good. It made the heels look good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you said it best, I think, before the show. You said that your job was to make him look good, but he made you look good because it makes him look better.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So if we have a good match, he beat somebody. It wasn't like he beat nobody. I mean, he don't have to do anything for me, but he sells and he does all of that because, he knows that if he has a good match on TV and somebody says, hey, Mike Jackson gave you a good match, but you beat him. So he beat somebody. He didn't beat just a piece of meat out there. He beat somebody. Some of those guys never had that mindset. They never understood that.
Makes perfect sense.
Psychology.
And you mentioned
those guys.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the guys that made it best in this business, that made everything the best in this business, were guys that had mindsets too. They not only body but mind too. They knew what they were doing when they got out there. A lot of guys had no clue. They were just big brutes.
Right. Yeah, the Road Warriors, they were all squash matches in the studio.
They were, and why were they like that? Because they couldn't work. They wasn't that good at working. So and I tell guys this all the time that I book and when I do shows, the longer some guys go, the worse it gets. So you need to do some of these things much quicker than you would. Yeah.
And I noticed that you always wore a singlet. Not many wrestlers wore singlets, but you wore the singlet. Is that just a comfort preference, or was it just more practical?
Well, no, I think my favorite wrestler was Bob Armstrong, Bullet Bob Armstrong.
Yeah.
And he did. Yeah. I patterned my uniform or my outfit kind of like from what he had. He he always had that thing, and I'd always ask him, "Hey Bob, where'd you get that? How low do you cut that? What do you do?" And I just loved to watch Bob Armstrong go. He was big here in Alabama. He was the main. So I followed him around, and whatever he had, I did.
Did you ever get to perform with him in the ring?
Oh yeah, I tagged with him many times, especially in his last days. I would bring him over. I'd bring him wherever I was at, and we would tag team. And he would always do the very best he could. Yeah, he was good. Yeah, he was one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
This match, and another thing was that they're very good at calling those matches without people seeing them calling it.
That's Flair. I mean, and most guys, I work with a lot of guys now. You don't have to say anything. Just say a name, say a color, and then you know exactly what you're going into.
Yeah. There's a secret code.
You got to be careful about the talk. Yeah.
Yeah. And there you are making the comeback there. Nick Patrick is referee here, by the way. You
Nick
mentioned
Patrick.
Gordon Snowley
That's
earlier.
Jody Hamilton's son.
Nick Patrick was? I didn't know that. The
Nick
assassin?
Patrick what?
Nick Patrick is
That's
the
Joey
assassin's
Hamilton's son. Yes.
I did not
That's
know
him.
that. Wow.
Yeah, that's him. Yep.
Okay. This is Gianni Martello. He's the one that gave me your phone number. He says you're still wearing you wore the same singlet at the gathering that you wore back in this match here, or is it?
No, they're the same similar, but those singlets that I'm wearing right there is probably 50 years old, 40 years old.
Yeah.
I got new one. Tell Johnny I got a new one.
He's watching. He knows.
It looks the same. I just like red and blue.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a dog barking. There's your atomic knee drop. You sold that well. This is toward the end. This is a 6-minute match, but it seemed like it lasted longer than that. But I wish I could have found the other match.
Like I told you, the other one. Yeah, it really went because it was, TV matches were like 4 to 6 minutes probably at best.
Yeah.
And the other one was so good that it lasted about 11. They just let it go. If it's going good and the people are in it, they let it go. And if the other one you just saw when I put the figure 4 and everybody in the crowd is going crazy, so they just let the thing go.
You mentioned George South earlier. Now I remember there was a really good match he had with Ric Flair that he pretty much controlled most of that match till the very end. And there's a story behind that where Flair was there, didn't feel like wrestling. They told him he had to wrestle. So he said he picked George South. You're going to be Magnum TA tonight. And he got him in the ring. And when Flair came out of that match, he was given a promo and George South was sucking air and he had to be helped out of the ring because he just didn't have the stamina that Ric Flair had. Can you attest to Flair's stamina?
Yeah. He was one of the best. He was in good shape, good, strong. He was one of the very, very best. And so was George South. George South, they had a big, I don't know really what they call it. They named all the top job guys in the world. They topped the top 5. They voted on it worldwide, and they voted on the top 5 job guys that they thought were the best jobbers in the world. And Brooklyn Brawler was number 1, if you remember him from New York. And I was number 2. George was number 3. So, there again, that I'm proud of that. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I did it well, and I did what made the other guys look good. They made me look good. I walked out of there. I wasn't squashed. I did exactly what I needed to do.
To be ranked number 2 is
George was a good one.
George, yeah. And I had you and George in my top 2. I'm not going to sit there and rank one or the other. I just thought you guys were equal talent. I didn't get Brooklyn Brawler because I didn't get WWF programming back then. But you and George South are 2 of my favorite jobbers. And George South is still doing it.
Well, George still works pretty regular. He's got a school up in I think Charlotte that he runs, and he has a couple of rings. I think does a lot of shows. He does a lot of Christian shows. Yeah, George does a good job. He's still active. I think matter of fact, we just he and I and Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson and let me think. There was another one or two, a couple of Mexican guys. We just did the big thing in Las Vegas at the GCW show together. So they're still active.
Nice. One of our viewers, who happens to be a cousin of mine, he's also a pastor. He asked us, this question here. What denomination was your father when he's a pastor?
Southern Baptist, just a good old country Baptist.
There you go. We talked about this on telephone. I remember, and I asked you about this. You confirmed it. You were also a school teacher. Was that in your off time as I
was?
As a wrestler, how'd you fit all that in?
I had 2 master's degrees. Mm-hmm. Well, here's I had these master's degrees, and I worked. I was a assistant principal for a while. I taught English. I coached basketball and football. But what happened was go back to the days when I started doing the TVs for a Georgia championship, and I was booking the TVs with all the job guys. And then Bill Watts got a hold of it. He called. He wanted us to come. Dusty Rhodes was in Florida. He called. We started doing Florida championship wrestling. I worked in Spartanburg, South Carolina against Carlos Colon. I don't know if you ever saw the match. We had a great match. And then Ernie Ladd, Ernie Ladd got me to Bill Watts. But there was another guy there from the Puerto Rico group. So we started going to Puerto Rico. So I'm working 2, 3, 4 days a week doing TVs. So I had to quit teaching school. I was making more money working a couple of nights, a couple of days than I was a whole month of school. School teachers don't get paid a whole lot of money, believe it or not.
No, they don't.
So
they don't.
So I went with the deal. I had those guys working for me. We'd load up an airplane, take 4 guys here, or get up a car and get take 6 guys to Shreveport to do Bill Watts' TV, and we did AWA for Vern Gagne. Blackjack Lonzo was the booker. He knew me from the WWF days, so I had like 5 different TV shows at WWF called. I started taking guys to WWF. So it worked out great for me. I had those guys working for me, and I was working for the companies. So we were working every week. So I had no time to teach school.
Worked out well,
and I don't miss it. And I don't miss it.
I don't blame you, especially nowadays. I couldn't go back to school nowadays.
Yeah.
I've always had this saying that I don't think I could survive my kids' childhood, and I know they couldn't survive mine. There's no way. You talked about Gordon Soley earlier. You said he's a good friend of yours. Tell us about Gordon Soley. He was one of my favorite announcers. I think he was the premier. They called him the dean of professional wrestling.
I think he was the best. I think he was the best of all times. I've not heard every one of them, but I don't think there was anybody better than him. Funny story. We was in Atlanta TV. Now, if you're looking at me, you see I don't have any hair much left anymore. But I used to have a head full of black curly hair. And one day when I was first going to Georgia Championship, when Jerry Jarrett called me and got me back on that TV, and I decided to stay there, Gordon Soley came through the dressing room one day, and he was getting ready to go to the announcer's table, and he hollered out, "Does anybody have any hairspray?" And I just happened to have some. So I let him borrow it, and after that, he must have thought I was the greatest thing in the world, I guess, because he plugged me, he put me over, he even made stuff up about me I'm not sure I ever did. But I loved working for him. And when I'd go to Florida, like do Florida Championship, he would personally pick me up at the airport, which he never did that for anybody. So it was a good. I really loved Gordon. He was one of the best.
Yeah. He was one of my favorite announcers.
He was a good commentator. He'd tell you.
He was. He'd tell you the science of the holds. He'd talk about the background of the wrestlers. I mean, he did his homework. That's where I heard you were a school teacher, because
he'd come ask me questions.
Yeah. Yep. He studied everything.
He would come ask me questions. Did you play baseball? Yeah. He asked me all kind of stuff, and I'd just fill him in, and he'd go with it. He'd pick it up and go with it. Yeah, he was great.
He had that gravelly voice.
He was one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
Mine too. He had that gravelly voice that just can't be beaten. But he was a smoker. I didn't know that until one time on Georgia Wrestling, one of the cameras switched over. I don't think it meant to. It caught him putting a cigarette out in the ashtray. Oh, he smokes. No wonder he's got that voice.
He smoked a lot. He smoked a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Something else. Now, again, I'd say this with all due respect, but a lot of people from back in the day talked about that he enjoyed the liquor. Said that he enjoyed that. Gordon Soley.
Now that I wouldn't know. I would never was with him on any kind of trips or anything. He came and did the commentating. He went his way, I went mine. I wouldn't know about any of that. I never saw him doing anything like that. But he may have. I don't know.
That's some stories on YouTube I've seen some of the wrestlers talk about. But again, he did Florida and Georgia, and then he also called the very first Starrcade match.
Yeah,
up in Greensboro.
He also did Continental. He did a. No, I don't think so. I did a couple of things like that, but I don't think I was on the first one he ever did. No.
Okay.
But Yeah. Now he also came to, in my area that I live in now, Birmingham, Alabama, around this area, Continental and Southeastern, the Fullers were big. I don't know if you Ron Fuller,
Yeah.
Robert Fuller.
Mhm.
They had
Yes.
a big territory here, and Gordon even came and did it for them too.
Nice. Yeah, him
So
and
it
Bob
worked out good. Yeah,
Caudle.
Gordon.
Him and Bob Caudle teamed up on the Starcade show, the first one. Bob
Oh,
Caudle
did
was
they?
another good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have
He was good.
did
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have made any conversation with Bob Caudle? Any kind of relationship there?
Not really, because I didn't do a whole lot of what like he was doing. But yeah, I
Mhm.
did talk to him a few times, and but not like with Gordon. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any stories about? I'm trying to think of. Drawing a blank on David Crockett.
Yeah, I worked for the Crockett's. Saw David at the convention, but I worked for Jim Crockett. He was part of that Georgia championship kind of takeover. I don't know if you call it a takeover, but they kind of combined. And
Mhm.
then we went from just Georgia over in the Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina, different places like that. And David was he was one of the commentators too. I think he
Yes,
commentated with Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross,
he did.
some of those
He did.
guys. Yeah,
He
I
did.
saw David he was at the gathering this year, Charlotte.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. He would get
Yeah, he
excited
was there.
when he announced he he and Ric Flair were in that plane crash together, so there's a bond there between those two.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
he always talked up Ric Flair. Always talked him up.
Yeah.
Now, were you around Harley Race at all? Because I know Harley Race came into the territory every so often.
I was with Harley Race. Back when he was the world champion, he would come back. See, that's one of my pet peeves. There's only one world that I know of.
Yeah.
We live in one
Right.
world. Well,
Mhm.
there's 52 world champions. Can't be.
Yeah.
If there's only one world, there can only be one world champion. Well, back
Yeah.
in the day, when Bob Geigel and they were in St. Louis and they decided about the world champion, Harley Race, Ric Flair, whoever it was, we would travel all over the world with a belt. Now, and don't get me wrong, you got John Cena and you got Randy Orton and those guys, and they're great. They deserve everything they're getting. But if John Cena's been 16-time world champion, it's all for WWE or WWF, whichever he was. Ric
Mhm.
Flair was the world champion in Canada. He was the world champion in Japan. He was the world champion in Korea. But they would come, speaking of Harley Race, they would come for like a week in a territory and spend a week in a territory wrestling the top babyface probably in the territory, and then leave and go to another territory and do it and defend that world's champion until Geigel and them decided it's time to change. So Harley Race, he came to matter of fact, for Goulas, Chattanooga, and all. I was scheduled to wrestle him in Chattanooga on TV one day, and he didn't show up. Something happened. He didn't make it. Plane didn't make it or whatever. So I never wrestled him, but I was on a lot of shows with him.
Mhm.
He was good.
Okay.
Most methodical wrestler I believe I've ever saw. Everything he did, slow, methodical, looked like he's killing you.
Yep. And as a kid, I hated him because he was a heel. I hated the heels, but that was his job,
Yeah.
was to be hated. He did his job well. But to see his interviews
did a good
in his
job.
later years, it's just he was very well spoken, very eloquent when he spoke. But he was somebody not to be messed with. I've heard a lot of stories
Absolutely.
about.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories about him being, being very intimidating to some of the other workers in the backstage. Did you ever notice any of that stuff, or you see one of the workers
No.
in the back going, "I don't want to mess with that guy. I don't mess with that guy."
I think the only time he ever had any trouble with anybody was somebody who had a trouble with him. If they tried to
Yeah.
intimidate him or try to do something to him or shaft him or screw him around, yeah, he wasn't he wasn't anybody to mess with. Yeah, he was pretty tough. He could back up whatever he said. He's like Bill Watts.
Yeah, Bill Watts was no tough one. What was your experience like working for Bill
Yes.
Watts?
I've been asked a million times who was my favorite person, all-time person to work for. Bill Watts was it, without a doubt. I loved working for Ole Anderson, which a lot of people had trouble with. I loved Dusty Rhodes. I worked with him, Carlos Colon, all those guys. Everybody treated me good. I have no problems with nobody. But Bill Watts was the most fair. And when I went to, they did their TV in Freeport, Louisiana at the Irish McNeil Boys Center. And when I first started, Ernie Ladd got me there. He saw me for the Crockett promotion in Mid-Atlantic. And he said, "Man, you need to come over to do our TV." Well, we did it, and then again, 3 or 4 guys go with me the next time, and all that. I did it for about 2 years for Bill Watts. But the good thing I liked about Bill Watts, he treated everybody the same. If I worked with Dennis Condrey on TV or say on a house show, if he paid Dennis Condrey $100, he gave me $100. He didn't give me 50 because I wasn't a full-time guy. I love working for Bill. He had a meeting before every show. He told everybody what to expect. Very few people ever did that. He'd have everybody in that dressing room and say, "This is exactly what you're going to do," and sit down with you and go over everything. So there was no thing when you get back to the dressing room and say, "Well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that." No, that wasn't what Bill said. And the good thing, Bill could back it up. You didn't mess with Bill Watts. Yeah,
he had a common theme in Mid-South. It was, to me, it was like the walking tall was the theme, because you had the 2x4 with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And as a matter of fact, I think anytime a babyface would clear the ring of the heels, he always go, "Well, here's this guy walking tall in the ring." He had that. He liked to project that tough guy image in Mid-South.
Yep. Well, he loved the shoot wrestling of it. He had Steve Williams. He had those guys in there that were real wrestlers, and they did well for him. Yeah, he demanded for perfection. He got it. And if you think about it, he made guys like Junkyard Dog, Jack Duggan, Tim DiBiase. All those guys were there way before they ever went to WWE and became all those characters they had. Bill Watts had them all. And he had Terry Taylor. He had the Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, Guerreros. I mean, he had just tons of talent and drew good and paid good. I loved working for Bill Watts. He paid really well.
The one thing I liked about Mid-South wrestling, it was the most authentic, tough looking, most roughest violence I'd ever seen. It just amazed me how well they pulled that off.
And that's what he called for. That's the exact thing that he wanted to portray, and he did. And I saw him, and he proved it by one time. I saw him and Dr. Beth Williams get in the ring while we were watching and wrestle each other. And man, you should have saw that. It was it was knockdown, drag out. But he was tough. But he expected, but he expected that, and that's what he did. He was serious about being on time. He was serious about dressing like a wrestler. I mean, everything he did personified perfection. I loved working for him, and he treated me good. He let me wrestle. I'd say, "Hey, Bill, how about you got the Superdome coming up? And I haven't done the Superdome ever. How about Super? Yeah, Mike, come on. Yeah, I do the Superdome. Pay me good." And he'd give you 2 days, leading up to the Superdome, so you'd make money going both ways. So he was always fair to everybody. I loved working for him. He was the smartest man. Maybe not the smartest, but he was the best promoter I ever worked for.
Nice. I did hear, though, that you're talking about fair. He was very big on leveling fines for people who either were late for meetings or didn't do something they're supposed to. He would level fines.
He put fines on anybody if you didn't come dressed properly. If you were late, you better not get caught riding with a baby face. If you're a heel or a baby face, whatever. He and matter of fact, he probably made most of his money off Buddy Landale. I love Buddy Landale. Buddy was great. I love Buddy, but Buddy got fined every day for something.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, but he was a stickler on that. But I mean, he was the boss. He set the rules. You knew what they were. I'd heard a lot of guys will say, "Well, Bill, there was a lot of traffic on the road." And he'd say, "You should have left earlier." I mean, he had a comeback, but that's what he expected out of it. That's exactly what he said, what he expected. And it's not like you got there and he said, "Well, I didn't tell you this, but you should have known it anyway." Nah, you knew exactly what to do when you worked for Bill Watts. And I appreciated that. I like that kind of stuff. Same way with me and Ole Anderson. I've had, I don't know how many people say, "Well, nobody got along with Ole. Did you like Ole?" Loved him. Again, he would tell you exactly what he wanted. He pulled no punches. He wasn't the nicest talking guy in the world. But if you screwed up, he was going to get on you. If you did right, he'd praise you. I mean, what else can you expect? What else do you need from a promoter?
All right.
Or a book?
I've been dominating the questions. Ben, Andy, you have any questions you want to ask?
Yeah. And I saw a few people ask the same questions I was thinking. Was there any favorite opponent that you had throughout your career?
I would have to say the best matches I've ever had. I keep up with this, believe it or not. I'm a hoarder. I keep up with everything. I scrap books you wouldn't believe, and I keep up with my matches. Now, I didn't keep up with my full time territory because I didn't think about it. But my favorite match I've ever had in my life, I've had about 60, probably about 6,500 matches now. And my favorite one was with the Rock and Roll RPM out of Texas. Y'all might remember him. His name was Alan Martin. But it was the best match I've ever had in my life. It's on video somewhere floating around out there, but it was the classic. And then I love working with Ric Flair. There wasn't many people I didn't like working with. There was a few that I when I saw my name against them, I thought, oh gosh, this is not good.
That was the next part of my
there wasn't many
question too. Was there a specific or a favorite territory, or you just pretty much like to work everywhere?
Well, I like to work anywhere, but the best territory that I only did the one territory because when we got through with those territories, or when I finished up with that territories were pretty much just diminishing away. It wasn't like that for many more years. Once they started going, once Vince started coming into everybody's towns, and once Georgia started taking tours on the road and all that, territories began to fall apart. So I love the experience I had with Nick Gulas. I didn't make a lot, I did well on money, but not what I probably should have. But I got a lot of experience, and then when I just started going independent, it was so much better. Now I'll tell you this: when I went to TNA, you saw that match with me and Johnny Swinger walking the top rope. I'm 70 or 71 when they did that, and they were going to give me a contract. Believe it or not, they were going to build it as the oldest person to ever sign a contract in professional wrestling. They had a whole storyline with it. It was going to be great. And the night that I did that show, the COVID hit the following Saturday. And then they went to Dark. If y'all remember, they went to Dark Studios where they had no fans.
Right.
And they just taped the matches. And they said they called me and said, we can't sign anybody right now because we can't have fans coming. We don't have the money. So I never got the contract. But I did go back and do a couple of Impact shows. And hopefully I'm going to get to go back in the future. I had them. That somebody let me know, one of the bookers let me know that they had something planned for me coming back hopefully in October. So I'm hoping I might get to go back and do some more Impact stuff.
Hope to see you there.
Yeah.
And so going back, and we're all fans of the territories, but the national expansion, it seemed to hurt, the AWA. It hurt the NWA. They had to sell off to Ted Turner. What are your thoughts with that? With those companies, USWA, they all world class. They all try to do a national, worldwide expansion, and Vince McMahon was the only one that able to achieve it successfully. What do you think about what's going on with that?
Well, it's like I was telling you, when everybody started getting into everybody else's territories, it started knocking them down, started weakening them. The other shows there. I mean. In Birmingham, had you rather see an NWA show or would you rather see a WWE show? You couldn't compete, and a lot of these guys got away from that. But Vince was successful at it. When Georgia Championship was going on tour, they were successful with it. But like you said, a lot of them tried it and just couldn't do it. They just didn't have the talent to do it. They didn't have the people that people wanted to see to do it. WWF didn't create a bad guy, good guy. They created characters, if you know what I'm saying. They came up with things. They came up with things that nobody ever thought about in this business. Undertaker, Stone Cold throwing beer on everybody. They just came up with all kind of stuff that nobody else would have ever thought of. And the other guys were trying to do it on wrestling shows. Good guy, bad guy. There's no good guys, bad guys anymore. It's all characters. Doing this, doing that. Now, some guys get booed, yes. Some guys get cheered, yes. But still, it's not like it was back. If you watch anything in the 70s and early 80s, you didn't have the Andersons wrestling 1 and 2. That was a feud. Fullers and the Goldens, that was a feud. Von Erichs and the Freebirds, that was a feud. They don't have those things anymore. It's just characters versus characters. People come now to see characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
to me, that's what I think happened.
So,
Yeah.
like, the territories, and I used to see some bits and pieces of Continental that hurt companies like that or territories like that in Memphis and
Yep.
Pacific Northwest and places like that. So when those national expansions started to happen, it killed the territory system.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
What do you think?
go ahead.
No, that's all right. Go ahead. Let finish your thought.
Well, back in the day, everybody respected everybody else's territory. Portland had a territory. Memphis had a territory. That was a Tennessee territory. Florida had a territory, and nobody came into anybody else's backyard. You know, every once in a while they may try to get together and do something like Florida champion versus the Tennessee champion or something. But they always took care of each other. But then when they started doing those things and going on tour and going up north and different things, and then when the North came down here to Alabama and South and different places, just kind of killed it all. But there was no respect like there was before. In the beginning, everybody respected everybody else's territory, but all that died.
Man, I just lost my thought. There was a question earlier. You mentioned the Freebirds of Von Erich's feud, which was a feud I actually saw from the beginning. It was, in my opinion, the greatest feud ever in professional wrestling.
Oh,
But
yeah.
did you ever have did you ever have a foray into the WCCW territory, or were you just familiar with
In the where?
the World Class in Texas versus?
No, I
Chris
did
Von
not.
Erich?
I never. Now I wrestled with a lot of those guys. Now the Freebirds, I wrestled with Michael Hayes got in the business refereeing my matches. I knew Michael from the way a long time ago. I didn't know Buddy Jack Roberts as good as I knew Terry Gordy, but now Terry Gordy was a very good friend of mine. He was from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I knew Terry when he was just a kid in the business. But I had a lot of great matches with the Freebirds over the years. But I never did work for the Von Erichs. I'm surprised. I don't know why. Maybe I was somewhere else during those times, but I never got a call from any of those guys. Like I said, I worked with some of the Von Erich. Kerry came to Continental. Kevin came to Georgia Championship. I met some of those guys, but I never did go work for Fritz or any of those guys.
Okay.
Wish I would. I watched some of it. It was good.
Well, they were rumored to have worked stiff. They worked very stiff, and a lot of people didn't want to go there because of that. But
stiff and snug's two different things. But that's you need to be able to snug. So I guess that's an old timer. If Fritz was telling them, so was Bill Watts. That's the same thing. Those guys, the old timer guys, that's what they believed in. And TV's got to be a little bit snug and a little bit stiff. Too many people watch TV. You've got to do some of that stuff in TV that you wouldn't do somewhere else.
Yeah. You gotta make it look real.
Yeah. If anybody didn't believe it, they should have just jumped in there with the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you ever get color in the ring?
I did a long time ago when I first started. My partner he couldn't do it. I don't know why he couldn't do it. He didn't do it, and I had to do it just about every time we ever did it. Yeah, I got pictures that you wouldn't believe, but I won't touch that stuff anymore because you don't know what you don't know about that blood, and you don't know where people have been, and in a lot of states, like here in Alabama, they got a no blood rule. They now of course guys get their nose bloody and their eyes pop sometimes, but they've got all kind of rules. And a lot of states now, if you go to Louisiana, if you wrestle in Louisiana, you have to take blood tests before you can get a license, to make sure you don't have some kind of disease or something. A lot of places are doing it. New York, you have to have a physical. Yeah, I mean, and it's a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. But I know one promotion, which I won't name, and I think everybody will know who I'm talking about. They have a wrestler that gets color pretty much every single match.
Is that Abdullah?
Yeah.
Moxley.
Okay. Yeah.
But back in the 80s, the territory days, color only came into play in the main event matches, usually with a steel cage or some gimmick match.
Yeah.
Those were rare.
It meant a lot more in those days. You're right. So did so much else mean that.
Yeah.
You know, you go back, if you go back when I first got in this thing, first really got a full-time break when I was with Nick Goulas. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lynn Rossi.
No, I don't think so.
Y'all probably not. Okay. Lynn Rossi was the big star in Birmingham when I broke in. He was the John Cena of the day. And he wrestled Sika the Samoan. I mean, you remember Sika the Samoan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
They wrestled for 20 minutes with a top wrist lock. And Lynn would work his way up, and the Sika would pull his hair back down to the mat, and it was almost a riot. You know, everything has changed more now. It's more storyline, it's more soap opera, and you know, I'm sure there's a place for everything. But if you go back and watch the old stuff, it's wrestling. Now it's wrestling with an R instead of a W. You know, and it's a whole different world. That's why so many guys are in surgery. That's so many guys are hurt. So many guys are in their careers early. You know, you look at some of the guys that's back in the old school, they lasted a lot longer than these guys do nowadays because, you know, we're jumping off buildings on each other. We're running over each other with cars. We're shooting each other with guns. You know, I mean, there's so much the body can take.
Setting
on
fire.
fire. Yeah,
a chair shot doesn't mean anything now. I mean, everybody does chair shots back then.
It's more acrobatics now. Yeah, it's like gymnastics.
Man in the middle. You are watch the girls. The girls are all gymnastics, and they're pretty, and they draw, and I know everybody likes to look at them and all that. Go back and watch Bambi and Peggy Lee Leather wrestle. Go back and watch Leonie Kai, Judy Martin, Joyce Grable. And that's just stiff. I mean, they snap Mary with hair, have handfuls of your hair in their hand. You know, I mean, it was a different world. Now it looks like it's really rougher, but it's not. But so many guys are getting hurt and having surgeries, and you know, I mean, it's just unbelievable. You know, and I'm not knocking those guys. That's fine. If I could do it, I probably would, but I can't do it anymore. Like they did.
Yeah. Well, something else we've observed in today's product is you see a lot of choreography going on in the ring. You see people position themselves. They're not even trying to hide it. And back then, you know, in the 80s and territory days, so wherever you landed, it's where you landed. You don't scoot over to make sure that somebody can hit you right.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to go back to Hogan and Sylvester Stallone for Rocky III. Sylvester Stallone said Hogan took a lot of the bumps to save him from getting the full effect of the moves to make it look even more accurate and more real. But Hogan was actually taking the real bumps and protecting Sylvester Stallone during Rocky III.
Yeah, that he probably was. I don't blame him. That was his money man. I don't blame him. I protected him too.
Definitely.
And let me tell you something about Hulk Hogan now. Hulk Hogan, I knew Hulk Hogan back from the Continental days, and you know, I knew him when he was nobody, and you know, when he was just trying to make a living, and he was just wrestling. I think he started out as been Terry Boulder or Sterling Golden. I can't remember which one was first, but you know, wrestling was dying in the 80s. I mean, the wrestling had gotten to a point where it was hard to make any money at it. Hulk Hogan came in and gave it a shot in the arm. I know Vince took him, marketed him, made him a superhero, but he really saved it. He really saved wrestling in the late 70s and early 80s when he came in and they made him Hulk Hogan. You know, man, I'm telling you, I would if he was alive today and I could see him, I'd thank him for what he did because he kept us going. He gave it a good shot in the arm.
And he was actually pretty.
And that movie you're talking about, that Rocky, that really helped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Hogan that could actually wrestle, but Vince for some reason
he didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. But we went to Japan. He showed off his wrestling moves.
Yes.
We see a lot of YouTube videos of him wrestling in Japan.
He's a different wrestler in Japan. I got different in Japan.
Yeah. But WWE, he wasn't allowed to really wrestle. He was more of the brute force guy, you know.
The character.
Yeah, the character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
all he had to do was tear his shirt off and point to the crowd, and he had it. You know,
Mhm.
and that's the thing. You know, whether he's great or not, whether he was great or not, he could put people in the seats, and that's what this business is all about.
He sure
You know,
did.
that's
right.
why I was glad I was never a main event guy. You know, you're gonna respond. If I'm the even those the good shows I did, like if I did the Crockett Memorial Cup tournament or whatever, if you're in the opening match or two, all you're responsible for is just setting the atmosphere for the show. You know, you're just trying to get the tempo going. I'm not supposed to put people in the seats. The main event's the one that's supposed to put people in the seats. So
Right.
they're the pressure. They're the ones that have the pressure on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Hulk could do it. If he just tore his shirt off, that's all that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. He had the
Shook the
charisma.
ropes.
He had the charisma.
That's it. That's what he did.
You know,
Exactly
and
what
back-
he was needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And
I
back
got a
then,
question for
back
Mike.
in. Go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I just guess, Mike, on all the years you worked, Mike, who was the biggest pain in the butt?
I'm going to say it because he's dead and gone. He can't hurt me anymore. Buzz Sawyer.
Oh, wow.
I heard that
wow.
about him.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Now, when I first met him, I had some great matches with him. Matter of fact, there's one on Atlanta TV that's a superb match. But after a while, he just got crazy, and you know, he wanted to hurt guys and he wanted to do stuff, and he could. He was a real shooter. And there's nothing I could have done with. He's the guys like Les Thornton, guys like that you couldn't do nothing with if you wanted to. Now you may think you could, but those guys could tie you in knots. But he was just he shouldn't try to hurt. You know, nobody should try to hurt guys in this stuff. Everybody's trying to make a living. Everybody's trying to do something. You know, but he was different. I don't want to talk bad about him since he was dead, but he was definitely the worst I had.
Okay. All right. Was there a stark difference between him and his brother Brett? You know, Brett came into the territory later.
Night and day. Brett was great. I love Brett Sawyer. He was as classy a gentleman as you could be. You know, Buzz was in the beginning, but he wasn't there. You know, in the end. But Brett was great. I love working with Brett. I had some good matches with him. I think I tagged with him a couple of times, but he was a super guy.
I remember that angle that they put in place when they were turning Buzz babyface, and it's because Brett had come into territory and was getting the crap beat out of him by Ted DiBiase, I believe it was. And no, it was Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake. And Buzz Sawyer came in the ring and saved his brother, and that turned him babyface, and they turned into a pretty good tag team for a little bit until somebody left the territory. But and Brett came out with a national.
Oh, Buzz
title.
was good. He could work.
He had the moves. He could do some drop kicks.
Great.
His drop kicks are great. He's really good. He had that low center of gravity, which was amazing.
Oh, he was good.
But you talk
I
about
saw
him,
him one morning.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm finished. Go ahead.
Well,
I'll come back to it.
Yeah, he was Buzz was a great amateur wrestler. I was at the studio one morning real early because we had to do TV. Sometimes we had to be there at 5 or 6 in the morning to get ready for TV to go on at 9 or 10 or whatever. And I got there a little bit early one morning, and I heard him and Ole in the ring or over by the ring talking. So I just stuck my head in the curtain just to see what they were doing. And they had some kind of amateur wrestler that just won some kind of big national title somewhere. He was looked like about 230, 240, about Buzz's size. And Ole wanted, I guess he'd got in touch with Ole, wanted to be a wrestler. So Ole said, okay, get in the ring with Buzz. Buzz has had, his boots. He'd been on the tour. He just gotten in. He would look rough. And Buzz killed this guy. I mean, he just tied this guy up in knots. Then Ole stopped it, let the guy get on top of Buzz to start. They started it again. Bam. Buzz was on him again. Guy got his stuff and walked out. Buzz tore this guy. This guy just come off a national championship win. So, he's guys like I told you, Les Thornton. I wrestled Les Thornton one night in West Palm Beach, Florida for the World Junior Championship. And what Les was great. But, he had me tied up. I don't know what he had. I ain't no idea what he had on me. And I told the referee, I said, if you don't tell him to let me go, we're going to sit here because I can't move nothing but my left eyebrow. That was true.
Believe it or not, that's where I am right now. I'm in West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
That was on Monday night in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Wow.
But
we got a lot more
Les
talk.
was laughing. Les,
I'll bet he was.
he was
I
great.
bet he was.
He was great.
We got a lot more to talk about. We're at the top of the second hour, so let's take a quick break and come back for another hour of Spanning the Globe. Welcome back to Spanning the Globe. I'm Mark Magger, your host. I forgot to introduce our co-hosts, and most of you know these guys, but I'll introduce them anyway. Next to me is Richard Ward, a.k.a. The Ward.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
He had to step out, but he is back now. Next to him is Ben Walker with Championship Belt Brothers. You guys are out of order. You guys are out of order, so I got
and they're used to this.
Yeah. And then underneath him in the orange is Andy Bolger from Love Those Wrestling Belts. And our guest tonight is Mr. Mike Jackson, Action Mike Jackson. He is a 80s phenomenon. I grew up watching this guy. I think Ben watched him as well.
Me too.
Yeah, Eddie did. Yeah, Andy's my age. I forgot. You forgetting. But this show is sponsored by Mark Leather Championship Belt Leathering and by Ashley's Southern Designs. And be sure you tune into the Double Dropkick podcast on Saturday night. They've got a great interview coming up with Tony Thorpe with Kaizen Pro Wrestling. He's also our fellow belt collector and one of the nicest guys in the hobby. So be sure to check that out Saturday evening on the Double Dropkick podcast. Got my tang all tumbled up. I did it. I'm gonna get chewed out. Again, joining us tonight is Mr. Action Mike Jackson from Alabama. By the way, I could tell you got a little bit of a Southern accent. Thank you again so much for joining us. Let's talk about some of the titles that you held in your career. You mentioned you're a 10-time junior U.S. junior heavyweight champion. And what else?
Yes,
what other titles have you held?
Several tag teams, Alabama Junior Championship. And there's so many independent shows I've had belts for that really don't mean anything, but did for a while. But basically the U.S. Junior Championship, and had a couple of never anything with Bill Watts or anything like that because I was just doing the TVs and stuff. But mainly that U.S. Junior title and Alabama Junior title probably.
And you still have that U.S. Junior title in your possession. I think you have it there handy, don't you?
I do. I don't have it exactly handy, which I should have gotten a long time ago. But if you can give me about 2 seconds, I can have it.
Absolutely.
If I put this phone down, I won't lose you, will I?
No. If you lose us, you can come back. Love this guy.
Great. It's awesome.
Sorry about that, guys. I just had to call, so I had to step out.
That's okay. Be sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 viewers. Once we do, we'll give away this beautiful Winged Eagle, dual-plated CNC 4mm by Unique Championship Belts, and it will be on my leather. But we have to get to 500 subscribers first, so be sure you like, subscribe, and also click that thumbs up. It'll help our channel grow. And get off there. Here we go.
Man, I wanted to welcome you into the 50 Club.
Yeah, happy birthday.
All right, been there, done that.
And Mr. Jackson is back.
Thank you.
I'm back, and now I want to hold. Can I hold this up? Can you see it?
I'm gonna put you on full screen.
I'm gonna hold it up and
we'll put you on full screen. There you go.
Oh wow,
that looks like the
United States tag.
Yeah, that's those tags. Yeah.
If I do it, can I do it? I'm trying to figure it out how to do it that it looks right. Hold on, I got it upside down now.
Lay it up against your chest. There you go.
Better?
There you go.
Yeah.
Still, it's not
just
doing good. Is
lay it up against your chest there and hold the camera back. You should be good to go.
Let me see if I can get it.
Wow.
It's on the chest.
Nice. That is the same style as the U.S. tags that the Midnight Express held.
Yeah,
so it's
probably is.
It's a very familiar design to us.
Yeah,
so
can you see it
almost
good?
Identical.
Yep, we can see it perfect.
Yeah,
that looks good.
Yeah. Love that red leather.
Okay, good deal.
Wow.
Thanks so much
it's
for
a
showing
U.S. Junior title.
Yeah, very nice.
Last
you held that belt.
Yes, sir.
You
I'm
held
going
that belt 10 times. You said you held that belt 10 times.
They what?
You held that title 10 times.
10 times. I was the only man to win it in 5 different decades.
Wow.
Yep, sure was. It's been in a magazine, been shown in a magazine several times. Yeah.
Who is your most notable
And
opponent?
a man ordered it from me the other day. He called me. He wanted it.
Yeah.
For that one?
Yeah. Well, who was your most notable opponent for that?
There was. All right. Well, one was the Rock and Roll RPM. One of them was Antonio Garza, a Mexican wrestler out of Mexico that's really, really good. I wrestled a guy. Now, it's not the Ultimo Dragon because he got hurt, but a guy that kind of took his place, followed up with, it's called the Ultimate, Ultimate Dragon, and had some good matches with him. And before Daphne died, believe it or not, she held this thing at one time. And I won it back from her. So been several.
Wow.
Yeah. At one time, back when they did the rankings, Daphne, she was good. She was a good wrestler. I had some good matches with Daphne. But she, back several years ago in the magazines when they used to rank the wrestlers, they'd rank each organization, and they did all the U.S. Junior or the World Junior Champions. I was ranked number 2 at one time. Never got to number 1. I think Buck Zumhoff or whatever his name was number 1. But I was ranked second. So it was good.
We know about Buck Zumhoff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. He had a good stand there in the AWA, and then came to world class for a little bit, and then life took a turn. So we'll just leave it at that.
I got a question for Mike.
I don't know about the turn.
I don't know if this question was asked before earlier because I was away. When you stepped into the ring for the very first time in front of a crowd, how did it feel? And how were you mentally?
Oh, it was unreal. Now the first match I ever had was June of 1972, but that was with what we called Outlaws. There was probably maybe 10 or 15 people there. But now my first real job, when Nick Goulas finally did hire me, was 1973 on Christmas night in front of over 5,000. That was a little bit different. Yeah, that was at Boutwell City Auditorium where they did every Monday night NWA wrestling. That was you might remember Tojo Yamamoto, Glenn Rock, Bearcat Brown. Yeah, that was the group that he had. And so like I told you, I wrestled Dr. Ken Ramey of the Interns. So that was a whole different world. 5,000 people and compared to 20. Yeah, it's quite a difference.
Did you have any I guess they would refer to it as stage fright, but you were in the ring. Did you feel anything nervous or anything?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I was a nervous wreck. My first job, my first chance to get in front of a crowd, and my first chance to be I live in Birmingham, so I'm in front of a lot of people I know that I have to live with. So, and the promoter there that's hired me, does he want to keep me? Am I going to be any good for him, or whatever the case might be? So yeah, and I still do occasionally. I work around here on a lot of shows, and not too much on these kind of shows. But if you go to Impact, there's always that hard thing. You just have to be. You can't mess up on TV. You just can't do that. So there's a lot of pressure on it. But I don't get too much stage fright anymore. Look, very rarely.
Cool. Thank you for answering my question.
Did wrestling the world champion like Ric Flair, did that give you any butterflies or any pause or anything like that?
Did I lose you?
No, you're here. Do you hear me? Anybody hear me?
I see. Yeah, okay, yeah, come back. All right.
Okay. I must have ducked out. Did wrestling Ric Flair, the world champion, did that give you any pause or any butterflies or any kind of nervousness? I guess
nope, because when you're wrestling somebody like that, you just shut up and do what you're told. It's pretty easy.
There you go.
I had no problem wrestling. Of course, when you're wrestling, and Ric Flair, the kind of guy he was, he would come in the dressing room and he would just point to somebody and say, lock up with me. Lock up with me. He'd point to 2 or 3 guys, and then he'd say, I'm wrestling you today. If the guys couldn't lock up, he didn't want no part of it, because if you can't lock up, you can't work. And he knew that. So if it wasn't going to be me or George South and he had to pick somebody, he picked his own opponent. I mean, no matter what I put on a piece of paper for him, he was going to pick his own opponent because he wanted to have a good match. And that we go back to what we were talking about earlier about having a good match as compared to not having one.
Right.
Yeah. Andy, you've been silent. You got any questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering. You were in the WWF for a while, weren't you, Mike?
5 years, 88 to 92.
Okay, what was it like to work for Vince?
Well, first of all, I wasn't any kind of, no star with him or anything. We did the TVs like I was telling you, and I would go. We did all the Southern stuff. It's Tennessee, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. Any of those places we'd go south or wherever. But we never did New York or anything. But I worked for Vince for 5 years, and I saw him. I saw him several times, but he only said one thing to me in 5 years. As I was standing in the hallway, he walked up the hall, the ramp that I was sitting at, and he asked me if the guy that he was pointing at was with me. I said, yes, sir, he's one of my guys. He said, tell him to put out that cigarette. And that's the only thing he ever said to me in 5 years.
Wow.
But he was too interested in being, there was Hulk was there and Savage was there and Andre was there. So he was worried about those guys. He wasn't worried about me.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about the only thing he ever said to me, but he signed a lot of my checks, so I didn't care what he said, just signed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Speaking of WWF and McMahon, did that John Stossel expose came out on 2020, just about the height of Hulk Hogan's debut. How did the guys in the locker room view that? Did you see that show by any chance where he got slapped?
No,
by
I didn't.
Oh, okay. Did anybody talk about
Who
it in the locker
slapped
room?
him?
Dr. D.
Yeah, Dave Schultz.
Oh, that guy. No. I didn't see that, but I know Dr. D real well. Nobody to mess with, and Vince and him told him what was coming up, and he did pretty much what he was supposed to do. Then he got in trouble for it and had to go. But Dr. D was he was pretty tough. Still is. I think I saw him not too long ago at one of the Charlotte shows, and he was bounty hunting for a while. He was doing different things, but he smacked that guy pretty good. Busted his eardrum, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Smacked him on both sides.
how smart are you? But what do you expect is going to happen when you walk up to a guy and say, your whole life is a fake and you're nothing but a phony? And what do you think the guy's going to do? Hug your neck?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
he got kind of what he asked for.
Well, he set it up by saying, I'm
you
going
go
to ask a
up
standard question, and then he made the statement, I think it's fake. He said he didn't ask the question. So
I'll
stick it up VHS
Yeah,
tape.
well,
I'll
let
stick
me
up
tell
that
you
show on
what
VHS
Dr.
tape.
D was. Yeah, what Dr. D did wasn't fake.
No,
no.
He found out, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But you got what you can't go up to a pro football player and say, I don't think football is real. I think you're a phony clown. You're liable to get stuck.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what the guy was expecting to get. I've seen that happen more than one time. That's not the only time I've ever seen it happen. Not necessarily with Dr. D, but I've seen that happen several times with people trying to report it all being this, being that, or whatever the case might be. And I've seen guys get slapped and popped in the head and all this kind of stuff. Nothing new, but you kind of get what you asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You ever had any fans come at you saying, I could whoop you?
Not really, because I've been kind of a babyface all my life. Now, I've had people that don't like me. There's always that fan that likes the heels and all that. I had a lady one night, I was selling pictures, and she brought a picture up to the ring and tore it in half and said something about, you're a clown, I don't like you, whatever the case. I said, you better not do that again. She went and got another one. I did that 8 times before she figured out I was telling her, and she was buying them. She brought 8 pictures. In those days, it probably sold for $1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she was doing. She was trying to say, you better not do that again. If you do that again, I'm going to be hot. She'd go get another one, buy another one. After the 8th time, I think she just walked away.
Oh, man.
That's another thing I was going to mention.
Did you thank her in the end?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I did. I don't think you said nothing else to me in there. I think you took off. But I think I got 8 pictures out of her before she figured out I was using her.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh wow!
Well, back
She was
in the
seeing red, and you were
day-
seeing dollar signs. Yeah,
You
she
know,
was
back
seeing
in the
red,
day,
and
you
seeing dollar
guys.
signs.
I'm sorry.
So she was seeing red, and you were seeing dollar signs.
That's exactly that's what I'm in this business for. I learned a long time ago. Belts, and this belt, this meant a lot, but there's so many belts out there. And I'm not saying anything about you guys because that's why I know some of you make a living that way. More power to you. But there's so many belts out there nowadays that the belts and you guys, I know, do replicas and all that. I understand that. That's what I'm not talking about that. But the belts that meant so much over the years, they don't mean so much anymore because everybody has one. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
I go to,
Yes.
I work all the time, every week, and I go to a lot of independent shows. And there's guys coming up there, and everybody's got two on their shoulders, one around their waist. And I'm thinking, you never been nowhere in your life. You never won nothing in your life. You might win a cigarette smoking contest, but you ain't going to win no wrestling match. And everybody's a
Yeah.
champion.
That's
Yeah.
AEW.
If everybody's a
AEW.
champion,
Mhm.
You got too many belts in AEW.
Oh yeah. I never take this belt anywhere with me anymore. And I used to take it all the time and say, hey, when somebody would come and say, look, I got the U.S. Junior belt, I'll defend it. And there's no reason to do it because everybody's got four of them on their shoulder.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it don't go out of the closet. And that's just that's probably not the best way to feel about it, but that's my opinion about it. And I know putting replica belts on the shelf is one thing, but walking around when you weigh a $110 and telling everybody you're a world champion because you got a belt bigger than you are.
Yeah.
Right.
I had one tell me that. I was in an outlaw show the other night, and the guy came up. His wrestling name was he was in a tag team, but he had a single belt too. His name was Peanut Butter and Jelly. That was their wrestling name, Peanut Butter and Jelly. Well,
Peanut butter jelly
butter.
time.
Yeah, Peanut Butter was the single world champion, and he came up to me, and he weighed about, I promise you, he weighed about $125. He could have tread. No, he didn't. No, say maybe 95. He could have tread water in a hose pipe. He was so skinny, and he
Oh, that's
and
great.
he comes up to me and he's real nice. He says, hey, Mike, I know who you are. Just want to say that, can we take a picture and all? Yeah. And he said, then he hit me with this. And I blurted out before I even thought. He said, I'm the world champion. And I said, what world are you the champion of? And he said, what?
Right.
I said, well, I just saw John Cena was the world champion on TV, and he had a world champion belt, and he's on TV. This guy weighs $110, and he's the world champion. He couldn't fight a wet noodle. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And we expect people to believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, who can he beat? Nobody.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the way I look at it. That's my pet. That's my pet. Y'all didn't want me to get on the soapbox, did you?
No, go ahead.
No,
Go right ahead.
that's good.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hey,
Get back up
we
there.
agree with you because
We agree with you.
I'm gonna throw a name out there. Rey Mysterio. He's not believable to be a world
I love it.
champion. He's a legend, but I just can't see it. The guy is 5'4". Him beating these guys, beating Kane or Undertaker or something like that. It's not believable to me. So I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and we to me sometimes, and of course some of these fans don't care anyway because that was the only fans there was probably his mother and daddy. It doesn't make any difference. But we try to insult the fans too much. I mean, we try to make them believe some stuff is just stupid that don't make any sense at all. And I try to tell. I run a lot of shows for fundraisers, and I have a little group around here that I run with. But I try to tell them, you got to be smarter than the fans. If you can't outsmart the fans and make them believe what you're doing, you're not going to make any money. That's the whole objective of putting seats in the seats.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people don't. And these outlaw shows around here don't do that.
Right.
You're talking about insulting the fans. Back in the good old days, like when you were in the height of your career, insulting the fans, you did it verbally in the ring. You say, "Hey, you big fat Billy guy, is that your sister you're kissing or whatever?" Nowadays, we're insulting them by insulting their intelligence.
Exactly.
It was a lot less politically correct back in the day, and that's what I miss about professional wrestling.
Yeah. Well, that's our fault. That's The books have been written, and everybody's exposed, and now there's only a few fans that still really believe in what this is, and there's some you couldn't convince if they were sitting in the dressing room listening to you. Yep. But I had supper with 6 men at Fort Lauderdale this Monday night. They flew me to Fort Lauderdale to do exactly what you guys are doing. They want to talk about old school wrestling. And I signed some pictures, took some pictures. They paid me. They flew me. They put me in a hotel for a day and took me to a steakhouse to eat supper. First thing I told them, the first thing they told me when they called me on the phone was, "We're smart marks." So, why would I try to insult their intelligence? Why would I try to sit there and when they ask me a question, just like you guys are doing, I'm answering it, because that's what this is about. So if we get in there and try to insult their intelligence, they even told me, I won't say who they said it was, but they told me their worst guest ever. I won't tell you who that was, but they'd had 108 wrestlers come to Fort Lauderdale, and they pay all the expensive and pay you well for sitting there, feed you, and he tried to kayfabe them. Well, you can't. There's some things you just can't do.
Yeah,
that's insulting intelligence in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You bring up a good point. You're talking about smart marks. Some wrestlers have an issue with the average fan, like what we are, using those kayfabe terms like marks, babyface, heel. How do you view that?
Well, everybody knows it now. It's not. Right. Everybody knows what those terms are. There's books out there. Everybody writes a book. They do this whole thing. It's just hard to make anybody. Everybody pretty much knows those terms. So back when I first got into business, this was a very, very secretive business.
Right.
And what I use I do a lot of seminars, and what I use with these guys and try to explain to them is this right here. You guys all know who David Copperfield is, I guess, right?
Yes.
A magician, a great magician.
Yes.
He's over in Las Vegas doing all this stuff. All right, now if he stands in front of a full-grown elephant, standing there, and he puts a curtain around that elephant and makes him disappear, he can't do that. But how does he do it, right?
Right.
So if you take the mistake, if David Copperfield comes up and says, "Well, guys, let me tell everybody how I did that," why would you want to buy a $500 or $50 ticket to watch it?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If we expose, and that's our fault, that's really nobody's fault but ours. If we expose everything, or if I expose everything, why would I expect a fan to pay $15 to sit on the front row to watch me when they know I'm not doing nothing?
Right.
So
that's a great point.
In the old days, it was real protect. You could get beat up for stuff. I've seen guys on TV get hurt bad because they were trying to do out exposing it or out running shows or something like that. I've seen guys get hurt pretty bad for that very same thing. So we've gotten away from that, but it's too late to turn back now.
Yeah, we've debated this over and over and over again, and I'm of the opinion that I believe that kayfabe can come back. Do you believe that, or you have a different opinion on that?
I don't know if it would ever come back, because back when Ole Anderson was probably the best at trying to do that. He tried to bring wrestling back as wrestling, but nobody would accept it anymore. After they had jumped off buildings and threw each other off the top of things into garbage cates and all kind of stuff, Ole tried to bring back just the wrestling, like him and Gene and Arn and them did, get a hold and crank it till the guy gives up. They tried to do a lot of that. Nobody would buy it anymore. I don't know if it ever could, but if it is, it would have to be a hard start.
Yeah. I think if the promotions would get back to the basics, maybe a generation later, maybe it could come back in some form or fashion. That's my belief. If they would just cut it. Of course, the internet takes away a lot of stuff. It gives way too much away. You got wrestlers who are killing each other in the ring, but they're tweeting to each other, "Oh, congratulations on your new house. Congratulations on your baby." But they're killing each other in the ring. If they stop that stuff, you touched on it earlier. The heels weren't allowed to even travel with the baby faces in the same car.
That's right. Bill Watts used to find them. That was another thing Bill Watts fined people for. If you were caught riding together with anybody, you were fined. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Sheik and Duggan.
Rob Van Dam and Sabu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Did you hear
didn't
that story
turn out
about?
very well, did it?
No. It's hilarious. So
Yeah,
you said
I
you
was
said
with
you're up
Sabu the night. I was on that show in Sabu the night that he killed it. Got it hurt so bad
Oh, wow.
in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah, I was on that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just done that. It was a GCW show, and he went through that. Well, they took the ropes off the ring. You know, he went through that barbed wire, missed the whole thing, hit on the back of his head, and man, I thought he killed him. I can't believe he got up.
Yeah. Man. But
But
ECW
he
is
did.
a lot to blame for that stuff. I just don't like the hardcore stuff. My opinion is it's just not wrestling. It's just
Illusion.
just a bloodbath. No,
We're still here. We're still here.
We're still here. You hear us? Your sound's coming in and out. Apparently. You hear us?
I can hear you
Okay.
now.
Okay. Your sound's coming
good.
in and out. Okay. So you're available for bookings. You're wanting to travel out of Alabama. How can people, if we have promoters or people who do promotions, how would they be able to get in touch with you?
Did you? I think y'all took my number for the screen.
We have it on the
anybody
screen, yes.
that's interested, I love to get. Yeah, I work in Alabama a lot. I do go travel a lot of different places. So anybody out there that would love to book an old guy, I promise I give you 110%. But I'd love to answer any calls, and I'm not that expensive. I just love to work. I still got it in my blood. I guess the good Lord will tell me when it's time to go.
There you
Right.
go.
There you go.
I love that you're doing what you love at your age. I mean, you're not just sitting in a rocket chair collecting Social Security. You're out there doing what you love. You're living the dream. It's amazing.
That's what I am. And it is a dream. It's been a good one. I've been in it for 57 years.
Wow.
Have you been able to put together a retirement plan though for when you decide to make that transition?
Oh yeah. I did. Invested well, and I've been blessed. So God's been good to me. So I've been really blessed.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've tried to say a lot.
I was a teenager back in the height of 83, 84. I was a senior in high school in 84, and I was just kind of fairly new to professional wrestling, but it really shot to stardom in 83, 84, especially with the Von Erich Freebird feud. But then we had the death of David Von Erich, which devastated not just that promotion, but I think professional wrestling all over the world.
Yeah.
How did you react to that? I mean, how did it affect you?
Well, yeah, I knew. I never had met David Von Erich, but I knew of the Von Erichs definitely, like everybody else did. And I hated it as much as anybody else did. But it was a shock. But I don't know exactly what happened, so I can't really talk about too much about what did happen on the thing.
Right.
But it was just a loss of the world. He was good. He would. I'd heard that he was geared up for the next world champion.
That was the rumor. Yes, that was the rumor. But then we had Gino Hernandez pass away. Yeah, and then Gino Hernandez passed away. A lot of those guys in that area got. Yeah. It was just
several of those guys. Yeah.
It just took the air out of a lot of people's sails, I believe, because it brought reality into professional wrestling. And I think a lot of people thought it was an angle because when Gino died, Scotland Yard actually called Chris Adams because they were feuding at that time, and they were questioning him in the death of Gino Hernandez because kayfabe was alive and well back then.
Yep,
very much. So.
It was. Yeah, not like it was. Not anymore.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I just talked to a guy. Saturday night they did a big show over in Gaston, Alabama. Had Rhino and Johnny Swinger and myself and a couple other guys, and had a big crowd. And they did a guy was telling me that he has a store. He calls it Kayfabe Cave over in Tennessee. And he's got, is it Kevin? I think Kevin's the last one left, right?
Yes, Kevin.
Kevin's going to be his guest. He brings in guests occasionally and, sign autographs and everything. He's bringing Kevin in for his next big thing. Yeah, he told me Kevin was coming.
Kevin is, I mean, you have to admire him. He's been through a lot with the loss of all of his brothers. He's the only brother that's left.
Yeah.
But I've heard him speak a few times on some podcasts and some live shows I've seen broadcast on YouTube. And it went on one aspect. I feel sorry for him, but at the same time, he's been blessed because he got the family he has left. It's just he's blessed with the sons, his kids. Have you seen the Iron Claw movie?
I did see it. Yes,
What did you think of that movie?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked what I saw. Everybody makes choices. I mean, your whole life is a choice. You make choices to do this, not do that, do the right thing, wrong thing, whatever. It just costs a lot of guys their life. They're not the only ones. I mean, there's been over the years been many that we've lost just because of the different things. You think of Scott Hall and different guys like that were on the top of the world, and all of a sudden, boom, one day they're gone. But we all make choices.
We do. We do.
Sometimes we're not good ones.
No, and back in the 80s, drugs were the cool thing. I mean, cocaine was the drug of choice.
Yeah.
They had the party atmosphere. And I don't know this, not being in the business, but I'd heard that a lot of wrestlers took painkillers because they didn't want to lose their spot. There was no sick leave in professional wrestling.
Nope, that's right. And not insurance or anything else. And had to feed your family. You had to keep going. That's true.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame. And I understand that WWE has a wellness policy, so they're trying to eliminate that kind of stuff. And we do have wrestlers that do take time off. They do take time off to rehab from injuries. That happens all the time. So I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, they should. And when I was doing it, Bill Watts came up with a insurance program for the guys that they could buy in like a 401k and stuff. So they tried to help some. Tried to help guys. I don't know how many did it, but he tried to help guys.
Yeah. It helps when a promoter takes an interest in the wrestlers, not just the gate.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely.
Did you you talk about being exposed to professional wrestling for the first time? I get the echo mirror. I'm sorry about that. Did you go to matches as a kid, live matches?
I did not go because, like I said, I traveled around a lot, and there wasn't any around until I moved to Birmingham. When I moved to Birmingham, it was, like I said, it was Boutwell Auditorium every Monday night, NWA, Nick Goulas, Tojo Yamamoto, that group. So I started going probably when I was about probably the 16 or 17, I would guess. I was going pretty regularly every Monday night. I had a second row ticket. Yeah, so I did.
Nice. Did you ever yell at the wrestlers?
Yeah. I yelled at Tojo. I threw hot dogs at him. I threw cups of ice at him. Yeah, I was about the biggest fan that you could possibly get. I did.
That's cool.
The police got me one night because I was peppering him with hot dogs. Yeah, he was. Him and Lynn Rossi had the biggest feud. I mean, that was the feud. That was the big feud. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I'm trying to imagine you throwing hot dogs at a wrestler. Assault with a deadly hot dog.
See, he's mentioning the hot dogs he's mentioning the hot dogs, and I'm thinking about Grandma in the front row with her cane hitting them as they're coming to the guardrail.
That's something else I missed about wrestling in the 80s is you had everybody in the family wasn't just mom and dad and their kids. Grandma came, and Grandma would cuss. She cussed those wrestlers.
Now you watch. It's hilarious. Back in the day, the cane. You're talking about the grandmother. I can picture that lady that sit on the second row about where I'm with a. She had an air tank, whatever you call those things. She had to carry around. She was trying to kill them with it. So, but now watch it on TV. They could be out there in the roughest match, killing each other. Everybody's just laughing. They're just standing there laughing at you. Everybody looking. Just watch them. See if I'm telling a lie. And they go over there and they make a move at a fan or something like, hey, I'm going to hit you. They just laugh at you. Back in the day, it scare them to death.
Yeah, I've been a fan since a young kid. I'm sorry, Mark.
Go ahead, Richard. Go ahead.
I've been a fan since I'm a young kid. My dad turned me on to wrestling, and Mark and Andy, long time ago, I knew these guys for a couple of years. They told me, go back and watch this match. Go back and watch this match. I prefer to watch the old stuff more I like it the way it was. Like you said, it's
Me too.
more wrestling than it is today. I'm invested in today's, but I'm more invested in the past. And then I watch the current stuff just to keep up with it and stuff like that. But I prefer the wrestling from the past. You guys did it real good in the ring. I have respect for you guys, what you've done in the ring, what you've accomplished in the ring. And the reason why we collect these belts, like Mark or Andy will tell you, because we watched wrestling with our fathers, and when the champion that held that belt, we remember the stories as a kid who held the belt, and what they did for the wrestling world.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a good thing. I don't blame you at all, man. It's just a different world than it used to be. Go back and watch those matches and watch the fans today. It's a whole different world.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
When you went to those matches, Birmingham, did your parents go with you?
No, never did. Never did.
Really? Okay.
No.
My dad.
No, they never went. I don't think they ever went to it. They came and watched me when I first started a couple of times, but not much. You know, they weren't big wrestling fans, and they were afraid I was going to get hurt all the time, so they kind of oohed and all the way. Yeah.
What did they think of your matches?
When I moved to Birmingham to Nashville. Yeah, when I moved to Nashville and took that first full-time job, I was away from them for a long time anyway. Yeah, because everybody lived in Nashville, Tennessee when we did our territories.
Yeah. What did they think of your matches after the fact?
Well, there was a while that they probably didn't care about them. When they first got in, they weren't too excited. You got to figure my daddy's a Baptist pastor, Baptist preacher.
Yeah, that's true.
So me out wrestling was probably not what he hoped I would grow into be. But he liked it after a while. But they came to certain places and did certain things, and but they respected after a while. It got me in a lot of things that I could not do. I speak at some of the churches, and I do testimonies. I've spoken at prisons before, youth rallies and things. So it's opened up doors that was good for him too, as well as what he was trying to do. So it's been good both ways around.
Awesome.
Nice. Awesome.
A question was sent to me by a viewer in private. Did you have a finishing move, a favorite finisher move that you commonly used?
I do. Now, back in the day, if you watch the finishing moves, there was a sunset flip, small package, things like that. Now I do a reverse neck breaker.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a spinning neck breaker type thing. Yeah.
Nice.
That's my patent move.
One of the common complaints we have about today's wrestling is those matches are full of finishers. The finishers throughout the matches.
They kill everybody's finish, don't they?
Yeah.
Everybody, you're right about that. And what's funny is they'll do 14 big moves and kill a guy, and they'll kick out, and then they'll schoolboy him, and he'll beat him 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
right.
That's
exactly,
hard to believe.
Exactly. It's like we'll do our finishers back and forth until the time limit comes up, then we'll just finish it up. It's
we'll
predictable.
just, pull your tights 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I told you it's a different world.
Yeah.
They kill everybody's finish. Back when I was in this, speaking of Harley Race, his finish was the pile driver. You might remember that.
Yes.
He did a little bit different version of it. But when you took the pile driver, they carried you out of the ring. You never got up and walked out of the ring. Now you do a suplex, get up for 2 arm drags.
Yeah.
So how come his pile driver was much harder than everybody else's pile driver?
Right.
Yeah. You got to ask yourself. Yeah. There was a lot of things they did back in the old days they don't do now.
Yeah. Have you ever heard Ric Flair do Harley Race, an impression of Harley Race?
He does
on
the
YouTube.
best.
Never
the best
he acts
part.
like he's holding a cigarette. He goes, like he would go to a bar and they'd be playing pool. He'd walk up, put a quarter on the table, go, I got next. And there was another story I'd heard on Harley Race. He was in a bar one time, and the guy said, I want to be a professional wrestler. So you do. So, yeah, I think I can whoop you. So Harley Race took a ketchup bottle and whacked it over his head and just bloodied the guy up. He says, now you're a professional wrestler.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, he was pretty tough.
He was.
A lot of those guys
Andre
are.
the Giant was scared of him. Andre the Giant,
I wouldn't doubt
and, who was the other one? Ming. Whoever what Ming was.
Oh,
what
I
was
know
his
who
name?
you're talking about. Yeah, Ming. You're talking
Yeah.
about Haku.
Yeah,
Haku.
Ming was pretty
Haku.
tough.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
now I
he
know
was
rings
pretty
come in
tough.
different shapes and sizes. Did you have a particular ring style you liked? Cables versus ropes, or what did you prefer in the ring as far as? Because I know some
Uh,
rings were
all the
stiffer than
rings
others.
that we had back in those days were pretty good. Now they've changed a lot over the years. I got in this business putting up rings. That was the first job I ever had. But they've changed. They don't have any of those center pieces on them anymore, which I didn't like those things. But now the high spots out of North Carolina does most of the rings around here. And they just snap it together, all steel, and they're much better.
Mhm.
They got good bounce in them, got foam rubber on them. Yeah, they're a lot better than they used to be. Now, some ring, you go to some places like Puerto Rico, places like that. Oh boy, they're hard as rocks. I
Wow.
think Texas the ring was pretty hard. If it looked as hard as it looked on TV, it looked pretty hard.
That's what I'd heard. It
But
was pretty
most of the rings
stiff.
are pretty good.
Yeah.
It
Some of them
didn't
have
look like it
have a
gave.
little bit of flex to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's according to what kind of padding you got on it too. A lot of people around here use that 1 inch compressed foam instead of
Mhm.
those mats and all that they used to put under there.
That indie
Makes it a lot
promotion I was telling you
smoother.
about on the phone uses that. Yeah, I think it used 2 layers of that. I think.
Yeah, that's what a
But,
lot of people use around here. Good stuff.
yeah. Yeah. Didn't you tell me you had a wrestling school too, or you taught wrestling?
I do not have a school, but I do have. I've trained a lot of guys. I'm training guys now. We just train wherever we set the ring up, whatever show we have. They just travel to that place, and we do the training before that. Yeah, I've
Oh,
trained a
okay.
bunch of people.
Wow.
On-site training.
Helped a lot of people get a start. I helped a lot of good people get starts. I got Big Boss Man his first job.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, I talked to his daughter. She was at my table at the Charlotte thing. We didn't even know each other, and she was talking about it. And I told her, Ted Allen trained her. Ted Allen, the Nightmare, the one that used to be in
Yeah.
Memphis, trained
Yeah.
him. And he came when I was booking Atlanta TV, and he worked. Ted called me and he said, "Man, I can't get this guy booked anywhere. Will you book him?" I said, "Yeah, I'll bring him to TV." And he was a pretty good sized guy, but he worked with Tully Blanchard on the show, and Tully Blanchard's deal was a slingshot suplex, if you remember his finish.
Yes, absolutely.
And he did the slingshot on Big Boss Man. He got up like $1 million, took that thing. Dusty. I think it was Dusty called me the next day and said, "Hey," or next Monday, he said, "Can you get that guy over here for us? We want him full time." He became Big Bubba, Cornette's bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went
Wow.
to WWF, Big Boss Man. Made it great.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he did good.
I remember him as Big
good
Bubba, and he was supposed to catch Jim Cornette coming off that scaffold, and he wasn't in the right spot, and Jim blew out
That
his
didn't
knees.
work. Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
it didn't.
Yep.
It didn't.
Yeah, it
Did
didn't
you
work.
ever work with Jim Cornette?
Many times. Yep. I even let Jim slam me one time. He still speaks highly of me. I think that made me and him bond brothers forever. Yeah. He asked me if he could do it. I said, "Sure, you can do it." Yeah, and he did it. He did it. Cornette he's an amazing man. Got a brilliant mind. Now he may not
He
have many
does.
friends left, but he's got a brilliant mind.
Yeah. He's
Yeah, I like him.
he's got-
He talks about me on his podcast sometimes.
I love his podcast. Have you ever heard him tell the story about the Dairy Queen in Hyden, Kentucky?
No.
That's a long story. I won't tell it, but it's on YouTube. It's hilarious. They went to a drive-through after a late night match, and the food wasn't ready, and hilarity ensued. But he got out of the car and walked up to the drive-through window, stuck his hip there, and started cussing them out. There's a video of it. But that's why
I
he
don't
named
doubt it at all.
his podcast after was a drive-through. It's calls it Corny's drive-through. That's where that comes from. That story.
I wouldn't doubt anything he did.
Yeah. The big thing nowadays is somebody having their final match. John Cena's going to have his final match. Ric Flair had his final match with who did he wrestle with? Shawn Michaels. If you had one final match, which you will eventually, but who would you pick for your opponent if you could pick anybody, alive or dead? Who would you
Rey
want that match
Mysterio.
with? Rey Mysterio.
Mysterio. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not Kane size, so me and him would be the same size. Yeah. Same size. I love to watch him work.
Would you take a 619?
Oh yeah, I'd have to. I demand it. It's like guys it's like guys I work with all the time. They came say, "Will you please walk that top rope with me?" Yeah. If you don't want me to fall off, yeah, help me. Yeah.
Have you ever wrestled Lucha Libre?
I just like to watch it.
Have you ever wrestled Lucha wrestlers?
Yeah. I've wrestled a lot of Mexicans. I can do some of that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I still dive through the rope and do. Yeah, I still do that. I did that with Johnny Swing on that match that you had when I was walking on the top rope. First thing I did was dive through do the suicide dive on him. Yeah.
Wow.
And
I still do a little of that, but I'm very careful. A lot more careful than I used to be.
I'll bet you are. And I don't know why I didn't think of this till just now, but what does your wife think about this?
She's hiding somewhere right now.
Huh?
She's not a big fan. She's probably been, if I've had 6,500 matches, she's probably been to 10. And that was at the Omni or the Superdome and places like that. Yeah, she doesn't care nothing about it. She doesn't like it. She's not one of those persons that say, "Oh, I don't like wrestling, but I watched 5 hours of it yesterday." If it's on, I just had it on. I had TNA on. Came in, turned on the baseball game, and left.
Oh, wow.
She doesn't like it.
Do you deal with any pain from your years of wrestling? Do you have any ongoing aches and pains?
I mean, I don't have to the point I got to take pills and all that stuff. But I had knee surgery. I got hurt in Pensacola. Worst injury I ever had was a separated shoulder. I got a bone that sticks out of my shoulder. That I was out for a while. I've had several injuries, but nothing that got me on pills or nothing that I could never come back from. So I've had nitpick injuries like everybody else does, but not anything severe that I've had to have too much surgery on.
Yeah.
So I kind of skimmed over this earlier. I want to come back to this. Can you walk us through a typical booking meeting? How that's put together and how that goes?
You mean like for a TV?
James?
Yeah. I'm sorry. TV. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. If that would start now with TBS, I just use TBS. That would start early in the morning. Those guys would get there, and it would be Ole and JJ Dillon, and I think Jake was in there a while. There were several guys in there, Dusty Rhodes, and I was allowed to sit in there too because I was the booker for the TV guys, and they would just go over everything that they wanted done, and leading up to the Omni. The Omni was their big show that night, or the next week or whenever it was going, and then the tour for the week and all that kind of stuff. So it was probably 2 or 3 hours sometimes for what they were trying to put together, because it wasn't just a TV show they were putting together. They were making plans for for the whole week. So book sheet, you'd get a booking sheet in the mail, or they would give you one there while you were there, and you would take that booking sheet, see where you were on what show. Back in those days they were running 2 or 3 shows a night, so you were pretty well booked.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much what a booking meant. Everybody would have input, everybody would have an idea, then they'd narrow down to where they wanted it, and then put it in motion. Find the guys they wanted to do it with.
Were they discussing the outcomes of the matches, or what would happen during the match, or what kinds of things were they?
No, not for TV. Not unless they were doing some kind of angle off TV, because TV was pretty much get so and so over, get the Road Warriors over, get Flair over, get Tully over, Arn over, whatever the case might be. Those were pretty simple. Now, if they were doing something to lead to the Omni that night, or maybe somewhere in Georgia they were that night or something, they might do one match out of that special with the Superstar, doing something with Tommy Rich or something. And so they come in and say, "Hey, we're fixing to go to Gainesville, Georgia, in just a few hours. We're going to get you. I'll get you there." That type of thing. But basically, TV was TV is hard, but it was pretty easy as far as the matches were made. You'd have, if you had 12 matches, 11 of them would just be TV matches.
Yeah. Did you prefer calling a match in the ring, or did you like to talk about it and plan it beforehand? Or was it all? your preference
I
was
like to
call
do
ring.
a little bit of. I like to do a little bit of both. I like to know the beginning. I like to know the end. I like to know when I sit down with the opponent what your strong points are. They want to try to put stuff together with that. What your weak points are. If I say, hey, do you do a clothesline over the top rope backwards? I never have, but I will. No, you don't do it. You don't do it. I try to put stuff together, but when you get in the ring, good wrestlers feel the crowd. If that may not make any sense to you at all, but if it does, you feel the crowd. What are they buying? Are they buying hip tosses? Are they buying arm drags? Are they buying wrestling? Are they buying? They want you to walk on the top rope. I can go to a show now and people start screaming. I call it old school. That's what everybody old school walk around the top rope, and they start screaming for that from the beginning. But I don't give it to them in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I try to do a little bit of both. I want to make sure I know what the end is. I want to make sure we put that together. That's the most important part, because if you mess up the end, all the rest of it don't mean anything. So
Right.
I try to put a little bit in the beginning, fill in a couple of middle, and then maybe fill the crowd for the rest of it. That's the way I look at it. Now, everybody doesn't look at. Some guys like to just do everything in the ring. Some guys like to do everything. If you come out of the TNA or somewhere or WWF or whatever, when you come out on that ramp, man, you're already into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I feel.
We know these days that the referees have the earpieces in their ears, and they're always having producers or somebody in the what they call a gorilla position in their ear saying, we're running low on time. How much of a role did the referee, like Nick Patrick, play in the studio for TV?
They didn't do that back in the day, and I don't think there was any in their TBS. I don't think anybody ever had a earphone that I remember. Now I know they do them now. They tell times and hey, you got a minute left, 2 minutes left, or whatever, because TV is so time consuming. But Nick Patrick and those referees were great. They played a major role. A good referee can ruin a match. I mean, a good referee can make a match, and a bad referee can kill it. You got to have a good referee and a good ring announcer. Those two are very important to the show.
Okay. Do you sell merchandise? Do you have like T-shirts or pictures that you sell when you go to these places?
I do. I got a garage full of it. Y'all need about 15,000 shirts. Yeah, I got it. I don't sell a whole lot. I mean, I do have a lot of stuff, but I don't put a lot of stuff on the table. Austin Idol told me a long time ago, if you don't put too much out there, they don't shop. They just hit and go if you put a little bit out there. But I do T-shirts. I have 2 good DVDs that High Spot's made for me. One's called A Shoot Interview. I'm sure you know what that is. And then I've got one action video with me and Ric Flair and Jake the Snake and Jerry Lawler and Tommy Rich and Ivan Koloff and a bunch of the old school matches. And then I do pictures. I do 4x6 pictures, and that's it. I just do pictures, T-shirts, and DVDs. Okay. But I do merchandise. Yes.
Do you do any of this online, where the average viewer can order this stuff online, or?
No, I'm pretty. I'm not too technologically good. But what I have is just people call me. So if anybody is ever interested in anything, please just call that number, and I will ship it right to you. Like this belt, this guy's getting this belt from me. I'm just going to ship it right to his house. So, if y'all anybody ever out there need anything, I'd love to see you. I have all size shirts and pictures, and I got pictures of me and Ric Flair, me and Daniel Bryan, me and Jake the Snake, me and Dusty Rhodes. I got a picture with everybody.
Do you take any type of payment apps like PayPal, Venmo, any of that stuff?
I'm worse on that than I am on technologically being sound. No, I did what I did. I tried the Cash App one time and I didn't get my money. I lost a shirt on that deal. I never tried another one. So what I do is just say, hey, mail me a money order and I'll ship it right back to you. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
so you call that number if Kevin put that back up on the screen. Call that number if you're interested in a T-shirt or picture or DVD.
And if they get a shirt, I'll send them a free picture.
All right. And
yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Not a problem. Or if you're interested in booking him for a match somewhere in your area, give him a call at that number as well.
Yeah, please do. Like I said, I wrestle every week, 2 times a week sometimes, but I just like to get away from the old places and go some new places. Yeah, I'd love to do it with you. I'm not expensive, and I just love to do it.
Awesome. Well, Mike Jackson, we appreciate you so much for joining us. If you want to stick around after the show, we usually have a little chit chat behind the scenes when the show goes off. We'd love to talk to you a little bit longer if you want to. Guys, I don't have anything else. You have any other questions?
I do.
Okay.
So, like, you say you work with Carlos Colon. Did you work down in Puerto Rico, and how was that experience down there? Because it's kind of a hotbed, especially the whole Brody situation. So
I was
they
there
lost
the
a
week
lot of
before
talent.
that happened.
Wow.
Yeah, I was there the week before that happened, and I said if I ever get out of there, I would never go back. Not because of that, because I didn't know anything about that going on, but it was so hard. It was San Juan. It flew me down. It was good. I took, matter of fact, 3 or 4, I think 3 guys with me. We flew down, but you stay at one hotel. They don't speak English. There's no TV. There's nothing. They pick you up, take you to the building. The people down there are kind of wild. I don't know if you knew that or not, but
we heard that.
If it wouldn't have been for Abdullah, I'd have probably been scared to death. They were beating on the things. I thought it was Kamala. I thought Kamala was there and they were playing drums, but he told me that Abdullah just said. I said, "What is that?" He said, "That's them guys out there beating on the railings with sticks." And they were dropping newspapers lit on fire down through the windows in our bags and all this kind of stuff. And of course, they were scared of Abdullah. They weren't scared of me. They were scared of Abdullah. You work. They do a month of TV, or they did in that time, and you might work 5 times in one night. It's hot and no air conditioning. It just wasn't worth it. And I said, if we ever get out of there, I wouldn't even have went to eat if it wouldn't have been for Buddy Landale. Buddy Landale was there, and I said, man, I'm not going out there with these. They're crazy. He said, go with me. We'll be all right. And we were. And I went to eat, but I said, man, if I ever get on that airplane to go back to Alabama, I'm out. But I never went back. They paid good, but I had to work 5 times. And I think I was like first match, second match, 5th match, 7th match, and 9th match. And there was Ron Starr, Cheeky Starr, those guys that could go. So you're out there going hard for 6 or 7 or 8 minutes. Do that 5 or 6 times in 2 hours, you're dead. So I didn't go back, but it was an experience, and I appreciated the experience, but it wasn't for me.
I'd heard a few other wrestlers say they would never set foot on Puerto Rican soil ever again, and part of it was because of the Bruiser Brody thing, and the other thing was because it's just the crowds get so wild down there. They just felt like they were in danger all the time.
Oh, they turn the cars over, and most of the shows you go to now. I mean, in San Juan in the TV thing, you just got the ring and the people around you. They throw pee on you. They shoot you with rubber bands and staples. Wow. They throw stuff at you. The cops don't have guns. They got sticks. They don't carry. They're not going to stop you. And then at the house shows, if you go to those ballparks, they have to put up netting all around it for you to walk to the ring because they're throwing bottles and stuff at you. Yeah, it's very dangerous. Oh, yeah, it's scary. They turn the cab over and they try to set it on fire if you're a heel. Yeah, they did that to the Freebirds. They turned their cab over, try to kill them.
Wow, that's crazy.
But, it's a little bit too wild in there for me.
And that's why I asked, because I heard that. I heard that from other interviews. Puerto Rico, it was a great territory, but it was also hot down there to work down there.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a bad guy down there, a heel down there. No. Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Where is your favorite place you've ever? Where's your favorite place you ever performed at?
Oh gosh, that would be a lot of places. I loved Atlanta. I love Louisiana. Shreveport, working for Bill Watts was great. I guess probably Atlanta. I probably did my best in Atlanta. You know, I did a lot of shows in Atlanta, the TVs and spot shows and different things. So I would think Atlanta would probably be my favorite. I like Birmingham. Of course, I lived here. I had a little following here, so that made it good for me too.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's many places besides what you call it I didn't like. Puerto Rico.
Yeah. It's just a different country. So.
Yeah. Different world.
It is. That's what I've heard. So. Again, Mike Jackson, thank you so much for joining us. Stick around after the credits roll, and we'll talk a little bit more. And I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate you coming on, and come back.
Let me just say this in closing.
Okay.
Let me say this in closing. You know, we talked about wrestling on. I really do appreciate that. Love it, man. But you know, I'm a Christian man. That Jesus Christ saved my soul, and that's why I think I'm able to do this again. So I give Him all the credit and glory. So, man, that's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So, thank you guys once again.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Thanks
Amen.
again. Thank you, everybody, for watching us tonight.
Thank you.
Be sure you join us again next week. And be sure to tune in to Double Dropkick Podcast and watch that Tony Thorpe interview. We greatly appreciate it. He is with Kaizen Pro Wrestling up there in Nova Scotia. And that should be a great interview. So, on behalf of Andy, Richard, Ben, and Mike Jackson, I want to thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.